Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Friday, December 20th, and in one more day, we'll have Steelers Ravens in Baltimore. I'm actually heading down there later today with football guys. Excited about that. That will be our lead topic, and my feelings going into this one. Going to be honest, I wish they were a little bit better. Also, an exciting night of volleyball last night. Pitt, Penn State, two different fates. We'll get into that. And Sidney Crosby scoring another goal, a goal, I should say. Sid's put up a bunch of points, had not scored in a little while, and want to talk about that, its impact, and where the Penguins stand. But first, want to remind you, this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, let's talk a little Steelers. Let's talk a little Steelers-Ravens, where this game could position the Steelers for later in the season. I just wish I could present a more coherent reason for them to win or bring more optimism to what's going on right now, but I can't. TJ Watt is going to play. I wish I felt better about it. I understand why he's going to play. I respect the decision and where Watt is at. If I was running a team, I'd probably do the same thing, but man, sure doesn't seem like he's going to be 100%, and I wonder about the impact of that. More so than Saturday, I worry about the long-term impact of Watt, and I don't want him to re-injure that ankle or make it worse. But TJ was asked at practice yesterday, any concern about being less than his usual self or making the injury worse? A little bit of both. Going to be honest, I wish that answer was different. I wish that concern didn't exist. At the end of the day, the Steelers still have to worry about the playoffs and not necessarily the AFC North. But, I understand that they're somewhat linked, not inextricably linked. These people are also human. I'm not going to voluntarily play a game without TJ Watt on the field. I understand what the impact is, but I don't love it. Another quote from Watt: I'm trying to be out there as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I wouldn't want to take the risk, is what he's assuming, but if that's the only thing I can do, I'm going to take what I can get. It just doesn't seem like Watt's going to be his usual self, and I hope I'm wrong about that, and I hope he goes off and drops Lamar Jackson 19 times. And I understand the importance of playing in this one. I understand why he wants to play in this one. In the other injuries, the Steelers need all the healthy help they can get. Honestly, looks like Dante Jackson very easily could be out with the back, Larry Ogunjobi with the groin, Deshaun Elliott the hamstring, George Pickens a hamstring. The Steelers are extremely shorthanded. The Ravens, everybody's going to have bumps and bruises. The Ravens are dinged up too, but not as much as the Steelers. And, I was trying to, come up with a list. I talked yesterday about several things the Steelers can do to get off to a better start. And if I'm going to come up with a list or a bunch of reasons for why the Steelers can win this game, I don't have much. Lamar Jackson, we talked about him earlier in the week, has not been good against the Steelers throughout his career, passer rating of 66.7. If that holds, if the Ravens have a bunch of penalties, a bunch of turnovers, of course, it's going to give the Steelers a chance. I think the Steelers' best weapon, best chance in this one offensively is to sort of scheme people open, to do it that way, rely on Russell Wilson, spread the ball around, lean more into Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. I'm presenting an argument for the sake of presenting an argument. I don't love it. I don't love the Steelers' chances in this one. We don't really do predictions here, but if we did, I would pick the Steelers to lose. And I worry about how much this is snowballing, more so than I worry about, record. Can they win the North? What's going to happen in the playoffs, etc. Just two losses, the way they've gone down, the health, what the Steelers are looking at, just don't feel great about it. And if I look at Lamar Jackson, the way he's thrown the ball over the past couple of weeks, not having Dante Jackson, and your options are James Pierre and Corey Trice. I like those guys, but Joey Porter Jr. has not played his best football of late. That's a very clear weakness for the Steelers, and I worry that that's where the Ravens are going to target. All right, I want to talk a little Penn State volleyball, but first we have our usual mid-roll read, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Are you ready for an escape from the everyday? The Bradenton area on Florida's west coast is welcoming visitors. Our world-famous beaches are being restored to their pristine states. Beloved island businesses are bouncing back faster than expected, and our signature Floridian cuisine is just as fresh as ever. Don't wait. Start planning your visit today at BradentonGolfIslands.com. All right, So Pitt lost a tough one last night. You've read the coverage, I'm sure, at post-gazette.com. And to me, this match was really lost when Pitt couldn't close out the third set. Had 4 chances at set point, and really it was it was all Louisville from there. In the 5th set, it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch. Louisville had 5-16 in the 4th set, and Pitt had some impressive stuff. Olivia Babcock was fantastic, finished with 31 kills. She hit 385 for the match. Tori Stafford was very good. It was awesome to watch this group for one last time, but that rings extremely hollow. It's a tough one to swallow. Louisville's block, I thought, was really outstanding, and just Pitt did not have any answers. But my column and my feeling on it is that we should not, don't be all negative. This team has given us all reasons to care about volleyball. We're talking about volleyball on First 10, talking about volleyball on the radio, reading about it, and that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. Talk about that more. And honestly, let's talk about Penn State. I'm not trying to ignore that. I already got one email about it, but I mean, Abby Schnabel is down there, wrote about it, and it's an amazing story. It really is. Katie Schumacher-Colley, their coach, is battling stage 2 cancer, excuse me. And last night they're down 2-0 against Nebraska, and they rallied, and they're able to pull out the reverse sweep. Absolutely crazy. The Nittany Lions are in the NCAA championship now for the first time since 2014. That was under Russ Rose. Schumacher-Colley's been there for 3 years. This is obviously their biggest moment. The Nittany Lions have a chance to win their 8th national title. Talk about one of the historic programs in women's college volleyball. Just really, really impressive. But back on that stage, right? Thursday marked Penn State's first national semifinal appearance since 2017. Made it a good one. Man. It was fun watching that match, staying up late. Just a tremendous night of volleyball all around. Honestly, some of the long rallies that we saw, impressive points. Nebraska struggled closing it out at 1.2, and Penn State took advantage. Just really, really fun. That championship is going to take place on Sunday afternoon. I would encourage all of you to watch that. Schumacher-Colley has been a postseason warrior. I'll tell you what, 9-2 now in the postseason at Penn State, and they've continued to build some really impressive things. And so good luck to the Nittany Lions as they try to take down Louisville on Sunday. All right, let's switch gears a little bit to the Penguins. An impressive win for the Penguins last night in Nashville. A lot of responses for the Penguins. I thought that was really important. They wiped out a couple different deficits. And again, we've talked about the Penguins. They've crept back into this thing, and they've made it very, very interesting. They're now 8-2-1 in their last 11. And wouldn't you know it, that 87 guy is starting to pull his weight these days. No, I'm kidding. Sidney Crosby scored last night, though. It's his first goal in 4 weeks. He's been putting up points. He's been contributing assists, and he's been very active. But Sid's been looking to get a goal, and I thought it was funny. Former Post-Gazette and Hall of Fame hockey writer Dave Molinari was actually the one asking these questions of Sid the other day at practice. And so Davey asked him about not scoring. And he said, usually, when I get asked about scoring, that's when I'm going to score. And I've had that conversation with Sid before. And, Dave said something about, happy to help you out or whatever. He goes, yeah, next time, don't wait so long. Man, that was on a tee. Of course, Sid scored last night in Nashville. Just a funny dynamic with Sid, something he says a lot. As soon as they're asking you about not scoring, you're going to score. So the fascinating part to this is that the Penguins have done what they've done. And I talked about this earlier in the week, but it's sort of coming to a crescendo without Sid doing a ton. What goal-wise? What happens if Sid goes on a heater? That's a real interesting thing to me. And by the way, that top line has been fantastic. It's like the Sid and the Jilted Kids line. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but, Brian Rust left off of Team USA for the Four Nations face-off. Same thing for Ricard Raquel in Team Sweden. Well, they're out to prove a point, aren't they? Both of those guys have been really good. And the Penguins have gotten some depth scoring. They're defending better. They're handling the neutral zone better. A lot of things to like about what the Penguins are doing. It's still the same discussion. Still has to be goaltending. Tristan Jarry has been better. Ned has been better. But if the Penguins are going to continue to build, continue to grow their game, and, stay in this thing, get a little bit more in this thing, however you want to push it or however you want to say it, it's got to be done with the goaltending. All right, do have one question. Did not get a lot for the typical Friday thing. Actually got DM'd this question, and it's relative to the Penguins. So Paul Greiser asks, and he was happy about the win last night, but with this in mind, why are we still seeing players like Cody Glass in a second line role? Meanwhile, Jesse Puljujarvi continues to set, etc. I think Puljujarvi will get back into the lineup. I do. I think they're giving Glass enough run to show what he can do. And it's these high pedigree players that, don't forget Cody Glass was out for quite a while. I believe it was a concussion. I talked to him in New York about this. And sort of a weird concussion that it knocked him for a loop. So, just dealt with the symptoms, I should say it that way. There were some surprising symptoms. But anyway, they need to allow guys space to audition. And Puljujarvi is one of them. I think you'll see him again. But I don't really have a huge problem with Cody Glass in the lineup. Blake Lizotte has been fantastic, and the Penguins have actually taken some steps to improve their bottom six. Cody Glass could be a part of that, but I think you got to have a little bit of patience and give him some runway. So, all right, that does it for me today. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more. Hopefully next week we can get more questions. I got to figure out a strategy to get that done. I like doing that, but it was light this week, so I handled it on my own. But anyway, heading to Baltimore. Hope you'll follow our coverage from there. We'll have plenty coming. And talk to you next week. Thanks for watching First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.